Hi guys, today we'll be building one of the biggest websites in the world. We'll be making a clone of Amazon, and I'm super excited about this because this is actually a beginner's course. You don't need to know a lot of JavaScript, you just need to know if you've done like a month or so of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, you can build this. We'll be building this site in Angular. You've probably heard about other frameworks like React and Vue. The reason I chose Angular is because, in my opinion, it's the easiest for beginners. The reason why I think it's the easiest because they separate the HTML, the CSS, and the JavaScript. And for beginners, that means that you can, if you have a typo or an error in either your HTML or your JavaScript, you only need to look at one file. In React, the learning curve is a bit steep because you have to, if you have a typo, you're looking at a mixture of HTML and CSS. But all in all, they both have a very strong community around them, so you can always get help if you get stuck. Angular is supported by Google, so you know you'll always have like long-term support. They're always updating the framework. They're always adding security patches and all that. And just to show you what we'll be building, and some of the features the website will have, you can add items to cart. If you look at the top here, you're seeing the items adding. So you've add 3 items in stock. You have a checkout page that does the total. We can create accounts and sign in. Like now I've just signed out by doing that, so you can see here there's nobody signed in. So let's check. Let's try and log in. The login feature is hosted on, the whole website will be on Firebase, and I'll show you how to actually publish it to Firebase by the end of this course. And you can create a login. The authentication is also done by Firebase. So let's just create an account. Let's call it b at bcom.com. Password. It's going to take a minute or two. It's already done. So you can see you already have the accounts logged in. So I'm super excited about this. I'm repeating again because I promise this is actually a beginner's course. You can actually do all this without knowing a lot of JavaScript. I can't wait to get started. I hope you guys are excited as I am. Let's start. So to start this project, you need Node.js. You can download it from their website. Once that is installed, we need to install the Angular CLI. So you need to go to any PowerShell or command prompt, and we need to copy this npm install. We're installing it globally. That's why you have the G there. I need to install it globally. I already have this installed, so I won't do that part. You can create this project in any text editor. I love VS Code. You can download VS Code if you don't have it here, but you can use any text editor of your choice. So the first thing I'm going to do is open this. This is where I'm going to put the project. So I'm going to open it in VS Code. And if you look at the website, the Angular website, it says the first command you can use is ng-new. ng-new will create for you a new Angular project. So where's my VS Code? Sorry. So ng-new my Amazon clone. You can name it whatever you want. I'm going to name mine my Amazon clone. Click enter. It's going to take a minute or two. So the first thing you will see is, would you like to add Angular routing? Routing is what you're going to use to change pages. Basically, it's a router that helps you to, if you want to create a home page, you want to create the checkout page, you want to create a product page, this is what you're going to use to route users to different pages. So we need this in our project. So I'm going to click yes. I'm just going to use CSS. This is the style sheet that Angular will provide for you. I just use normal CSS. It's going to start doing its thing, and this will take a couple of minutes. So I'll meet you a bit later when it's done. So once Angular is done doing its thing, we can cd into the file that is created. For me, I called it my Amazon clone. So I can cd into my Amazon clone and run npm start. This should start a server of our app. If you look at package.json, you'll see that the start command runs ngserve, and that's what is running here. So as it's doing its thing, maybe we can look at what Angular has created for us, the node modules and the source file. Most of our work will be done inside the source file and specifically inside the app folder. Now, if you look at this app folder, you'll notice that the word component appears a lot. This is because Angular is a component-based architecture. And what makes components very powerful is that they are reusable, meaning we can create one component and use it several times. And if we look through the file structure, the first file here is uprooting. This was created when we ran the command to create our new project, and we said we needed, and we actually typed in that yes, we needed uprooting. Uprooting is a navigation folder of this whole structure. So if we wanted to put navigation, let's say home, and a path to go home, sorry, I don't know what's on my typing today, and a page for home, this will allow us to actually go to localhost stroke home. So Angular is already done with its thing. So we can open localhost. The server is running on port 4200. Let me just close this. So we would be able to run home and navigate to home like that. But we're not done doing the routing and telling it which component to go to, but we shall revisit this later. So for now, let me just undo this. It may bring errors because it's not complete. The next file is a upload component of CSS. This is where the CSS will be putting down our CSS. The HTML is actually what you're seeing here. This is the HTML. Let me just copy this over and try to, let me start with this. So we can see both panels. I need to minimize this a bit. That's too much. Yeah. So this HTML is it's a template that comes with Angular, and we will work on. This is where we'll start beginning working on our project. So we'll have to delete all this and start our own design, which is this. So the next file is Upcomponent.ts. This is a TypeScript file. TypeScript is a superset of JavaScript. So it's JavaScript but with superpowers. So what it does, it adds more features to JavaScript and allow us to do much more than just normal JavaScript would do. If we make a change like here, as this is the title, if we just call it Amazon, just wait for the changes to load. You see, this has changed. It was my Amazon app is running to Amazon app is running. The spec file is where you put your tests to test this component. The app module file, we'll revisit this a bit later. So first things first is we're going to be creating this header. Let me try and highlight it. We'll be creating this. And to do that, we need to, let's go back to, I need to disable this first. Disable. Yeah. To do that, we need to delete all this. So let's go to app.html, select all of it, and delete it. So the first thing I'm going to do is create a div. Let me just do the whole thing. So it's a div with class header. Now, if you look at the design, we have this top navbar, what I'd call a navbar with a darker color, and the lower one here with almost like a bluish. I want to create both divs initially, so we call this, let's call it a nav, and let's call it the top, and another nav with a class header bottom. Okay. We're not going to put the colors first. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give space for this icon here. I'm going to call the whole thing first menu. So I'm going to create another div with a header menu. Then inside the menu we'll have for the icon header, the menu icon. Then this will be, I'm going to leave it blank for the moment. Let's look at the logo for Amazon. Let me put this so that you guys can see what's happening, and create more space there. Yeah. So and go back to this. What's happening? Did it crash? Oh, I've not written anything on the screen, that's why it's like that. So if we were to do something here, it should show. So that's showing. Okay. So the next thing to do is we made the icon. I want to put the logo. So I'll put an image tag. The source, I'm going to copy paste it from somewhere. I just googled for this logo, guys. If you want, you can pause the video and just copy paste this. I'm going to give it a class of, so that we can target it. Class of header menu logo. Let me delete this. So you can see it's already appearing. Next step is a search bar. Image is already there. So let's go to the next and let me give it its own separate div with a class header search bar. It can be header menu search bar. Let me just go with that convention. Search bar, and inside it I'll put a text, an input type, which is a text file, and I'll give it a class of header menu input. We'll work on all this CSS later. I also need this icon here, so I'll give it a div and call it header menu search bar icon. We're going to leave it blank for now. You guys will see how to look a bit later. Let me just make this a bit smaller so that we can see. I clicked on save. This logo a bit smaller so that we can actually see how it looks now. I want to go to my CSS and we called it logo, header logo. So to target it, I'm going to go to header logo. And I think I called it header. Wait, just let me just confirm. Here's the HTML. I gave it a class of header menu logo. So header menu logo, header menu. So the properties will be object fit. Object fit helps you when you change the width or the height, the image remains like properly formatted. No, that's not the right word. It maintains its dimensions. Yeah, this is what I should be saying. So I'm going to give it a width of 100 pixels, and I'm going to give it a margin around it. Let me just copy paste this. Let's see the change, how it looks. So it's a bit smaller. It will show a bit more when we, let me just even just do that. Let me give the header top its background color, which I copied this from the Amazon website itself. I'll show you how to do it. So we are now going to this, we're targeting this, which is the top nav bar, this. So it's a CSS file I should be going to. It's a class, so I should put that before it. I'm just going to copy paste my CSS. From the Amazon website, the height was 60 pixels. The background color was that. We had a font size of 14. Uh, display display flex arranges everything in horizontal, so everything will run this way. The color will change the color of the fonts, which is white, and the padding to the right will be 8 pixels. Let's save that and see how that looks. You see, we have, it looks like almost like Amazon. So we already almost here. So what we need to do, there's this very ugly margin. So Angular just starts with that. It puts that by default. And if you want to remove that, you need to come. There's a file here. Let me show you. Index file is where actually the root of the app is. So app the component is actually running from here. So to change the CSS of all the whole thing, you need to come to this CSS. This CSS is actually being imported through the index.html. You need to come here, target the body, because if you look here, you will see uproot is actually under body. So you need to target the body and put a margin of 0 all round, and that should get rid of this. It has gotten rid of it. So the next thing we need to, we'll work on the this search bar, and also the rest of this, the hello, signing, returns, orders, blah blah blah. So let's continue. Once we are done with, we already have the search, the input, which is not being seen here, but we'll see what we'll do to show it. So that's a search bar. Let's put now hello, signing, and accounts list. So that's another div. I decided to bring another, let's just call it div dot header. That's a class menu, sign in, shouldn't be capital limit, sign in, and it has basically two items. Is the top, I'll create a span and call it header. No, this is a class. I'll give it a class of header menu top, header menu top. What do we call it? Top. Sentence is weird. Header menu top. Let's just call it item, and give it a, what was it? What was it saying? Hello, comma signing. Hello. Sign. Always do that. I always do that. So sign in, and the bottom one says, and now it's showing, but now we can't see it because the whole thing is not, is the flex is not working for some reason, but we'll sort that out. Let's create another one and call it, what do they say, accounts and less. Accounts and less. I think they use this the short form. This I'll call it bottom. This is bottom, quest bold. Then we have almost the same thing. I'll just copy paste all this. See, I've written singing again. I'll copy paste all this. Should be heading this so that you guys can see. I'll copy all this, and now returns and orders. Returns when it's all separate line. And orders. So let's go back to CSS so that we see what we've actually done. So I think we need, because everything is on header top, we also need to add flex. Like I said, flex by default, let me show you where you guys can look at this thing. There's this website, the Flexbox guide. If you Google Flexbox guide, you'll see how to work with flex, and it's very easy because it allows you to just arrange stuff and they work like almost automatically. See, the directions is when by default direction is row, so it arranges this way, which is, I think this is horizontally, and if you put column, now it becomes vertically. So I want to add, I want to target this header dot, this header menu class. Let's come here and just add it. There's my dog making a bit of noise. And I want to change display flex. So let's look at the changes we made. You see, now it's sunny. Even the Amazon logo has a word because it was in white. Uh, this is still, this is not how it's supposed to be, but we'll work on that. What else should we be doing? We have this, the cart here with the number or items you have. We are going to work on that a bit later. I'm thinking let's just finish with this, then I'll come back to now to the lower navigation. So let's continue with adding CSS. So for this hello to sign in, we need to change them to display column to look like this. So let me just make this a bit slower. So I want this to be display column. Let's go back to our website so that we can see the changes. So the first thing you need to do is you must make it a flexbox, display flex, but flex direction to be column. Let's see if that works. Yes, that works. I also wanted to change the weight. Let me just confirm what I put the weight as. Just a minute, just bear with me. For some of these things I was getting from, and I'll show you guys, I was getting it from the Amazon website. Font size of 10 and color of light gray. So it's just a font size that was changing. So if I target this, and go to my CSS, what did I press on? Settings, and just a dot. And give it a font size. This is the top one. This is a 10 pixels font size and a color of light gray. Then the bottom one, just use the same copy. Okay, call the bottom. Now this is font size, not font size adjust. The font size of 13 and a weight of 800. That looks more like it. When we change the font, it will look more like this, so don't worry about it. So let's continue with our CSS. Maybe we can space this a bit. I can do that. Let me target the divs inside header menu, and to just target all of them I just need to put that, don't know what you'd call that, greater than sign, and put a margin on all of them. Let me put about 8 pixels. Let's see how that looks. Yeah, that's a bit better. Now I want to get this icon and this one. So to do that, we need to use something called Angular Material. Material design is Google's design language, and that's what we're going to use to get the actual icons. So just Google for material or Angular Material, and the website is material.angular.io, and you click on get started. You see you need to run this command ng add angular stroke material. So let me run it. I need to hide this panel, make this a bit bigger, open a new terminal and run it. It's going to take a minute or two. So it asked me to choose the theme. I already selected indigo and pink. You can move down with down and up to select with the arrow buttons. Set up Angular Material typography styles, yes. Set up animations, yes. It's going to update the package.json and it's going to continue installing. So I'm going to get back when it's done. So guys, after adding mat icon module, I'm getting this error, and that's just programming. That's how it is. So probably some of you might not get it depending on which version of Angular you're using or whether it's been sorted by the time you're watching this. I'm just going to copy and Google it and see if I can get a solution for fixing it. So guys, what it turns out you just need to stop the development server and start it again and npm run start, and that should fix the issue. Now, as it starts, let's look at these icons that we wanted to add. This, you just need to Google material design icons, and you'll see this. I don't even need to expand this. This is a website for material design, the icons, and anything you need to add, you can just search for it. Like now we want the menu. And you can select whether you want filled or outlined or rounded or two-tone. There's so many choices. Let's see now searching. Oh, here it is. So we have something like this, and if you want to know how to add it, the key name that you, or the word that you need to know is menu. What is written down there? This is what you need to know. So let's just start with the menu. So we're going back to our HTML, app.html, and because it was just before the Amazon logo, we need to add it there. Let me hide this. And we're going to put it under here, the header menu icon. We have left space for it, and what you need to do is write to mat icon. Now, you see the mat icon, they're actually components. So you name them the same way we would name a component. So it's mat icon. And you put the value menu inside it. See after it refreshes. it's there, we can see it. We're going to add a bit of CSS to make it a bit bigger, but let's just first add all the icons that we need. The next icon is this search bar, this search icon here. I don't know if it will be visible, but we have less space for it here. So what we need to do is do another matte icon. Also on the spelling, I think it's search. Can confirm what the search one looks like. Search. This image search. There's a search, this one. So that's the one we need. Let's save that. And the last one is the shopping basket one. This is not showing, but I just think it's because, oh, it's gone under here. We're going to fix that. But the last one is a shopping basket one. So I don't know if it left a space for it. Yes, it should be. Let's just create another div for it. How big is this div? And let's put it after the signing on. So div, let's call it header menu cut, and let's put a matte icon and call it shopping cart. Let's call it shopping cart. You can again just look at the icons website to get specifically which icon you want. So now let's do some CSS. So it's there. There's something else here. We're just going to put a paragraph and add the number. Let's say like 2 or 3. This is how many items are in the shopping cart. The class, we're going to give it a header cart number. Let's see what it will show. We're going to edit this and make it better. We are hard coding it right now so that we can later on it will actually be updating automatically depending on how many items we have in our shopping cart. Let's go to CSS. Now let's edit them and put like so they look a bit better. The first thing we may do is this one, the little burger menu. Let me just check out my CSS what I've done before. I called it header menu icon, I think. Let's just confirm. I can barely see anything. I hope you guys can see. We're looking at the header menu icon. Yes, let's grab that. Let me hide this. No, I need to go to the CSS. The CSS opened here. So let us put it somewhere before the logo. It only has we're only adding 2 CSS styles, and that is we're increasing the font size to 30 pixels and we are aligning the items center. Let's target the matte icon itself. Let me see whether it will work without that. Now let's try and target the matte icon itself. Matte icon. Now this is a child of the header menu icon. Yeah, now it has changed. Now we need to move this here, and the search bar. The search bar, we'll call it header menu search bar. That's that. And what we are doing, mm, no, I don't think, no. I think that should be wrong. We already had it. Did we already edit the header menu search bar? No. So let's give it a flex. No, display. So they align. Flex. Yes, they're already aligned. Let's give it a margin top, a height of 40 pixels. Margin on the top, height of 40 pixels. Justify content. So flex one will try and expand it and make it as big as it can fit. It's not going to work now because we need to edit a few other things, but it will work. So we also had let's just go through the CSS. We also had the input, and let's target that. The input is actually this. So I give it a CSS of, let me show you, let me just copy paste that. No major changes, I don't know why. I'm trying to change this and give it a background. I don't remember how I did that. Let me just check. There's a search bar icon which is the color white. The bottom and the location. Yes. So there's icon just in the CSS. What have we given it? Let a menu search bar icon. Let me target that. See if it will look. We want to give it that Amazon color. So the background color is that. Yes, at least now it looks almost like Amazon. Let's give it a few more things. Want to display flex. And was the color black really? I think it should be white. Let's look at the original. It's actually black, okay. So that looks almost like this. Still have a few things to do. So let's work on, what do we work on next? The shopping cart. Yes, the shopping cart. So the shopping cart, we again have to give it a display of flex. So they align, the three comes here. So display flex. Let's give it a few margins to the left and to the top and the left. Let's give it a height. And now let's target these three here and make it a bit better. So the three here had the class is header cut number. We're going to give it a color, font size, and font weight to make it a bit thicker. Yes. Now the only thing these things, like, we need more space here, so I'm going to target the whole thing and see whether I can. Let's look at the CSS. I think this is the whole thing. So let's go padding. Let's give it a padding bottom of 8 pixels. Yeah, that looks a bit better. So the next thing we're going to work on is the bottom menu, this menu over here. I'm just going to add this, deliver it to whichever country you want. If you guys want me to actually do the automatic location detection, we can do it. You just need to comment below. So let's work on that now. Now this is a header bottom. It's another nav. We just need to give it a CSS. What color had I given it? Let me just first grab this. The class. Then what was the color? I'm just checking for the color because I've done this somewhere before I made this tutorial. Where is it? Oh, I've seen it. So I'm just grabbing the CSS. Has a height of 49 pixels, no background image. The color is that, padding to the left, and the font size. So after we are done with that, we need to add the actual. I'm going to hard code this, although like I said, if you guys want us to actually automatically detect the user's location, you can do that. So this is just that it's not actually inside the nav. Sorry. Cut that. So yes, we need to turn it into it needs to be aligned like this. So we can give this a class. Header, bottom, location. Let's just call it location text. Then we just need now to target this and edit it. And give it color white. I think it's white. You need to say display flex and flex direction action below. Now let's give it column. Let's see what happens. Column. Yes, that works. What else? Do you need anything else? No, I think all the CSS is done. Now the next big thing we're going to be doing I'm very excited about this part. Is actually start the displaying columns, no, displaying components and pages. And to do that, we need to start making components. And the first component you're going to be doing is moving this whole menu into its own component. And to do that, let me just make this big. We need to run ng, what's it doing? ng generate component. This is the first component we'll be creating. The first thing, I just like, you can do it like that, but I like putting them in folders, because when your project becomes very big, it becomes very hard to find where you put your components, where you put your pages. And the process of creating one is similar for pages and for components. So what I need to do is create a new folder and call it components. Then put it in capital. Components. So what we tell in English is generate a component, put it in the components folder, components, and name it header. Angular is going to do its thing, and your component is going to appear under here. We are also going to create another folder and call it pages, and these are actually the pages we'll be navigating to. Now we have, no, what has it done? Okay, let me just delete this. I think my spelling was, no, I can delete this. So we have components. The spelling is wrong, but it's okay. Components with a header component inside it. Should I just delete this? Just do it again. Let me just delete it and do it again. So, because my spelling here is on components. So let's create a header component. Then I want to move all what we've done into this header component. We can also create a page. You'll see the process is the same. We just need to, you can run the same command, but here we want the page to be the home page. And the folder is pages stroke home. Or let's create something. Do we need home? Yeah, let's just do home. So you guys can see how it works. And now we can let's create another component. We have the header, let's do the footer. Components, footer, and one more page. Which other page should we do? We should do the checkout page and the login page. So folder is pages. Let's just do all the pages now. We have the checkout and the login page. So in components, we have the footer and the header. In the pages folder, we have checkout and login. We only have now, for now we have checkout and home, but we'll get login in a few minutes. Good. So now what we need to do is to move everything here into its own component. You want to put everything under the header component. We already created it. Make sure that the header component is under components. And what I mean is we need to move all of this, the whole header section, into its own component. Now to do that, we need to copy or cut. We need to cut actually all this. We're cutting from the Upcomponent.html. I'm moving everything to header component.html. And this we need to save. Then we need to copy also the CSS. You can see that the CSS, you can see that the file structure is the same. So we go to, let's cut, go to header component.css, paste. And now when you look at our website, it's blank because we cut everything from here. Now to show it, we need to put a selector under the app component HTML. Now if you look at your header component.ts, you see the selector, you'll see that the selector is app.header. Now you need to copy that name, and put it as an element. You may bring an error. Let's see whether it's showing. Let's see the error we are getting. Let's move to where the node is running. So it's saying that app header is not a known element. The reason why it's saying that is because we've not declared it in our app module. So everything we need to use, we need to declare it here. If we do not declare it, usually Angular will declare it for you automatically when you're creating the components. But if it doesn't, this is what you need to do. You need to come here and say you want the header component. You want to declare the header component. Sorry, it should be caps lock. I think caps lock is on. Header component. And you have to check whether it's actually being imported, and it's not. So to import header component from the components folder. Components header component. No, actually we've called it. No, this is home component. Sorry about that. It should be header component. Header component. Now that should clear this error. Compile successfully. Let's refresh this. Still bringing another error. So again, restarting the app seems to have solved the problem. So just let's look at what we have now. So you can see that header is being displayed once you put the selector here. Here we just put in this, and now it's showing. If I type here anything, you see, this is what it's actually below here now, you. So this is how components work. You just need to put the selector as an element, and it displays on a page. I'm going to show you another example. Let's create a component for this banner with the guy seated over there. So what we need to do now is go again to here. Let's use this other. Then generate component components and call it banner. Let's give it a minute to do its thing. Let's spell this one correctly. Yeah, it's correct. So it's done, and all we need to do, let's delete this. I can put, let's check what says the selector is called. The selector is app banner. So let's move here and put app banner. Now if you look at the banner component, it just says banner works, and now if you look, it says banner works. So let's actually edit this. I'm going to put an image. I just googled for this image. Maybe you guys can copy paste for the link. Just an image tag with a source. You can always pause and copy this. And now let's work on its CSS. Let's see if we can see it first. So you can see it's quite huge. I want to make it a bit smaller and give it like a fade. So the CSS. I'm going to give it the class is banner with a width of 100% so that it covers the whole page, and we're going to give it a linear gradient so that it kinda just fades into the background. For now, that's what I'm going to do. This is a bit smaller now, and it has this white fade like design that Amazon uses. The next thing we need to look at is make the home page. Now I'm gonna start making the home page, and yeah,